Well, invitations have been sent, and Apple's going to be having an event on September 7th. There's a rumored feature for the iPhone 14 that I think is going to be super cool for creators like you, and I am really excited for it. What's up? This is Joe with Joseph Blake Photography, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the super cool rumored feature for the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro, and whether or not it's going to make a difference for you and me and other creators that use iPhones for all sorts of things. But before we get into that, really quick, if this is the kind of content that you're interested in, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And if at the end of this video, you think it's worth it, I would appreciate a like. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video because we're going to be going through, number one, what is this feature? What does it mean for creators? And is it going to be a game changer for creators like you and me? A quick rundown on what we're expecting from the event as far as the iPhone is concerned. We're expecting the iPhone 14 in probably a 5 point something something and 6 point something something version. The mini is dead, but this year the iPhone 14, the standard iPhone, will likely be getting a spec bump on its existing processor. So instead of seeing an A16 processor, probably going to be seeing an A15 or an A15X or some other branded version of that same processor with improved or more cores and improved graphics performance, but it will not be branded as a new or separate device. On the Pro side, you will definitely see a new chip, probably the A16, and they're going to start differentiating considerably the standard and the Pro model. Also likely on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, you're going to see that punch hole design or hole punch design in the OLED screen, where that camera and current notch will likely become smaller and less visible. Lots of renders on the internet about that, so I'm not telling you anything you don't already know if you're following this stuff. The camera side of things, though, is going to be really big, especially on the Pro. These features may or may not make it down to the standard 14, but the 14 Pro and Pro Max will definitely have 48 megapixel standard sensors with pixel binning down to 12 megapixels, allowing for considerably improved low light performance and just all sorts of cool and crazy stuff that Apple can do with their chips and their image processing systems to take advantage of those pixels. On the wide camera, however, which is actually one of my favorite cameras on the iPhone, though it is horrible in low light, great on mountain bike trails where the sun is shining, but you put it in any sort of a low light condition or low light situation and it is terrible. That camera, the sensor specifically, is supposedly going to be getting an improvement in the size of the pixels, which if you improve or increase what's called the dot pitch, you'll actually see more ability to collect light, and also with other technological improvements and maybe process improvements, they can improve how well that camera, that lens, that sensor actually brings in light, which will be very exciting for the wide angle lens and the people who use it. Okay, again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. This is going to be an iPhone event. We're going to be getting new iPhones. The new iPhones will be better and the most better that they've ever been, more expensive probably, and the Pro will have a better camera. They'll all have better cameras. Everything's gonna have a better camera, better screens, and we'll have graphs that don't make any sense. It's an Apple event. That's why you tune in. Also rumors about a improvement to the Lightning jack, where it'll have USB 3 type speeds, anticipating USB-C next year with the iPhone 15, at least the iPhone 15 Pro, and also potentially seeing an always-on screen. And for the Pro models, at least, we will likely be seeing an increase in price, though the base model might actually have an increase in storage, and we might end up with some sort of crazy 2 or 4 terabyte, which shooting ProRes on the iPhone, especially if it has this new camera, you're gonna need more storage and you're gonna need that faster transfer speed coming out of the Lightning jack. So hopefully that's coming, although I'm holding off on shooting any sort of long form content on the iPhone like that until we see the USB-C or the Thunderbolt jack on the iPhone. Okay. So again, nothing you haven't heard before, nothing you shouldn't expect from an Apple event for an iPhone. Maybe we get new watches, all that sort of stuff. But here is the feature that I keep hearing about that I think is actually kind of cool and might really be the thing that steals the show. The name of the event is the Far Out event, and if you notice, the Apple logo is in a constellation of stars. The other thing that you sometimes hear referred to as a constellation is satellites. Now, we traditionally use 4 and 5G communication technology to transfer data to and from our phones, as well as Wi-Fi when you're inside a Wi-Fi access point. So the iPhone, this is the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and this phone has Wi-Fi and 5G. So works great for me. But if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I do a lot of outdoorsy type stuff. So I purchased a secondary communication device. This is called the Garmin InReach Mini. And this little thing is fun. And what it does is it allows you to connect via satellite for a number of features. Number one, the ability to, and this is the top feature of this device, is the ability to call and request help using the SOS button in the event that I am in some sort of a precarious situation. So if I get lost, if I get stuck, if maybe I hurt myself and I'm unable to get myself out of where I am, maybe I run out of water or food or whatever, I need evacuation, the SOS button will do that for me. Feature number two, it provides tracking and map technology for myself and my loved ones. So I am able to, using this, set pins and set trackers, as well as input routes, so that I can not only see where I am, but follow the routes that I intend to go on in the event that I'm maybe off a standard trail. I can make sure that I'm where I need to be. I can do that with the map on the tiny little screen, but it's very tiny. So there is a companion app, a Garmin InReach, I think it's called Explorer, that I run on my phone, and these two talk via Bluetooth, and then it will show me on the phone where I am, where I'm going, where I've been, and it will, if I want it to, send that information via satellite, that's what this big antenna is for, over to my friends and family. And so they can look up where I am within about 5 or 10 minutes, and they can see that I'm on trail, they can see that I'm on track, they can see that I'm not lost. And the third feature, and actually one of my favorite features, is it provides SMS text message. So I am able to, with a second phone number that's assigned just to this device, I am able to either message directly from this device, or I can, through the Bluetooth link and the Garmin Explorer app, I can send text messages to my contacts or my friends and family and say, hey, here's where I am, here's what's going on, here's when you should expect me back. It's also helpful if you have to make changes to your itinerary, so that if they see that you're somewhere that you weren't supposed to originally be, they might know why and they don't get worried. So SOS, tracking and location, and SMS text message feature. This is not a cheap device. I think this cost $400. Now, for me, $400 is worth it because I do not want to die in the wilderness, number one. Number two, my wife likes to know where I'm at. And number three, I like to text message with my friends and family when I'm on adventures. It's fun. It's nice to still feel a little connected. But it's not just $400. There's also a subscription fee. So I have to pay a subscription fee to get things like the weather, my location tracking, and SMS text messages. And there's also a membership or insurance plan that you can purchase for the SOS service, so that you're not paying, tens, maybe more thousands of dollars for a helicopter ride. All of that is well worth it, in my opinion. You can cancel the subscription when you're not using it, or modify it, increase it, decrease it. There's pay-as-you-go plans, all of that. It's based on what you need and what you've got going on at the time. Okay, so I'm sure you're asking, why am I spending a considerable amount of time in this video talking about a product that has nothing to do with Apple, isn't made by Apple, and as far as I know, and Garmin isn't gonna be at the at the announcement on the 7th. Here's why. Because patents have told us that the technology to make this work inside of the iPhone using cellular technology is already in it. We already have it. The radio is already in the iPhone 13, and we believe that with the iPhone 14, it'll officially be announced and released, as well as potentially the Apple Watch 8 Pro, which will be a larger faced unit to compete specifically with the Garmin Fenix, which is a 47-51 millimeter super mega sport watch that has a long battery life, provides mapping, and has GPS and satellite communication built into it. We're pretty sure that that's going to be the case because a couple of days ago, T-Mobile and Starlink announced that they are going to have a service available for users very soon, especially if you have a phone that uses 5G on T-Mobile's network, to be able to use Starlink satellites to be able to communicate with your T-Mobile phone. Many people in the industry believe that this feature announcement from T-Mobile and Starlink was in anticipation of what's coming on September 7th from Apple. They wanted to get ahead of it, even though their product won't be available right away. Normally when Apple announces something, at least I would assume so for this type of a feature, it's going to be available with the release of the phone, which is normally going to be about a week or two after the date. So the 14th to the 21st-ish, we will likely have the iPhone 14 and 14 Pro, and we will have potentially this feature available or on the Watch 8. They may put it in both devices, we will see. But again, here's why this is a big deal. If you are a creator that spends a lot of time out in nature, so if you are a hiker who likes to take pictures on your hikes, or maybe you are a outdoor vlogger, maybe you are a outdoor nature drone enthusiast, maybe you're, I don't know, I follow a bunch of folks who they detail their trips on like the Appalachian Trail, on the Continental Divide Trail, that sort of thing. Whether you're a hiker, mountain bikers, backpackers, bike packers, right, who backpack on their bikes, and just folks who are all over the place. If you're using a device like this to keep yourself safe, which is what it is. This is a safety device. It's important. If you're going to be out in the wilderness and you do not have cell service and you are especially by yourself or with only one or two other people who also won't have cell service and you don't, I mean, it's a no-brainer, really. You really can't afford not to have something like this. So you want to make sure that you have a device like this with you if you're going to be out in the wilderness. So if you're a creator and you are out doing stuff like that, I mean, I love getting out into nature and taking photographs and doing video and flying the drone. I mean, that's what I do. That's what a big part of this channel is about. I need to have this with me. So this is always with me when I'm on my mountain bike, and it's always with me when I am hiking or traveling in the wilderness. If that's the case, number one, this is another device that I need to charge. It was not inexpensive, and I do have to pay a monthly subscription fee when I use it. And as much as I really love the features, it's a little clunky to have to Bluetooth back and forth and have to use their app. Their app is okay. I don't know if any Garmin app is great, and I would really love to just be able to use maps and messages. That would be so much easier. So if I can do that, if I can do all those things with one device, I can pay for the device by paying for the iPhone instead of having to pay $400 for this thing. And maybe I can include it in my Apple One subscription or something like that, because the subscription for this is not inexpensive. So if they're at the same price or less, I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna make a lot more sense for me. So that's why I think this feature is huge for creators, especially creators who are out in nature. If you are in the wilderness creating content, whether it's photography, videography, flying a drone, action cams, you're doing hiking, you're doing mountain biking, motocross, maybe you're on a sailboat, maybe you're, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other like wilderness activities that would have you outside of cell service. But you tell me down in the comments, if you're an outdoorsy person who's also a creator, and maybe those things overlap like they do for me. Do you have one of these? If you could jam this inside of, just, would you do that? Would that make sense for you? I just love to have one battery to worry about. I'm already worrying about the iPhone battery when I'm on trips and bringing a battery bank with me, but if I only have to charge one and I know that it's gonna work. So tell me down in the comments if that's a feature or something that you'd be interested in, but that's gonna be huge for me. I'm gonna be watching really closely. We already know that they've made a deal with a satellite company. Satellite company bought a bunch of satellites. Pretty soon we should know. On the 7th, let me know down in the comments if this is going to be a feature that you are really, really interested in, because I think if you are a wilderness creator, this is going to definitely be something that is going to change things for you. And if you like talking about this and you like this video, I'd really appreciate a like on the video. And if you're into stuff like this, talking about tech, talking about gear, talking about creation, and all the stuff that we do, the news, the reviews, the how-tos, that's what my channel's about. And I'd really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button if that's something that you're interested in. At the same time, down in the description, I have links to various gear and technology that I use. That's how I produce the videos that I do produce. And those are affiliate links, so I'd really appreciate you checking those out and potentially making some purchases. That helps me out, helps the channel continue moving forward. Because I'm really excited about what we're going to see with the iPhone. Every year I tell myself, is it going to be enough to replace my mirrorless when I'm on a bike ride? If I'm taking a quick bike ride and there's going to be a beautiful sunset or a beautiful sunrise, and I want to take a photo, I'm always tempted to bring the big camera. I've got the Peak Design mount on all my bags that I carry when I'm on the mountain bike. If you think the iPhone 14 is going to be enough for me to maybe leave the camera behind, not on big trips, of course. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.